All right, let's talk about an action figure that got me back into reading comics. So this is Uncanny Spider-Man, also known as Nightcrawler wearing a Spider-Man suit. I had no idea this version of the character existed. I saw the promo shots for this figure and I was like, oh, another Spider-Man. Then I looked closer and I was like, wait a minute, is that Nightcrawler? Nightcrawler is by far one of my favorite Marvel characters, definitely my favorite X-Men. I did not grow up reading comics, so I'm not fully aware of everything that happened to him there. I mostly know him from TV shows, from the movies, and just kind of enjoying the toys as a kid. Oh, actually, I've got these bad boys in the box still. Great Nightcrawler toys that I absolutely loved as a kid. And yeah, so when I found out about this, I decided to see if there was like any way I could easily read the story where this costume is featured. And sure enough, there was a standalone graphic novel I could read, which is great. I really enjoyed this. I had no idea that Nightcrawler has a magic sword he can just kind of call at will. That's a great way to solve the problem of the fact that he's never been depicted with any kind of scabbard for his swords. So I actually really like this. And the comic itself was really great. It was I didn't know that it's effectively Nightcrawler's definitive origin story, so it was cool to finally have that context for a character that I love so much. So yeah, this was a surprisingly exciting figure, and it got me reading comics again, which I think is very cool. Let's open him. There we go. All right, let's get you out of your little prison. I hate when companies do this. It always bends the swords. Always with the tape on the hands. All right, he's out. Let's play with him. So right off the bat, I'm pleased to report that this is a Marvel Legends. So I don't exactly have crazy expectations, but you know, good articulation. Actually, these joints feel nicer than what I'm used to. I haven't gotten like a brand new Marvel Legends in a while, but this is a lot better than what I've had in the past. The joints don't feel cheap or gummy. They're not quite like buttery smooth import figure level, but this is nice. So we got pretty solid articulation, double jointed everything, always nice. I like that the bendy tail is also on a hinge, so you can just spin it around without worrying about messing with the wire. Oh, this isn't a bendy tail. That's a little disappointing, but at least it's in a dynamic shape. Yeah, I really would have liked that to be a bendy tail though. But hey, at least it's on a hinge. So you can pretty much, aside from like the tail going back, you could pretty much get into whatever pose you want. So naturally, first thing I want to do is see if I can get him into this pose. So let's try. So already I'm not super confident because we don't have a neck joint and we don't have a ball hinge on the waist. But let's at least get that leg kicking up. And no drop down either. Okay. Not looking promising. Can't really bend the head sideways. At least get that foot up. Not quite. Surprisingly, even though it's like the ugliest ab crunch you can do, it doesn't get you that much. Really, if I really push it, probably, yeah, that's about as far as I can get. A little disappointing, but that also is a pretty crazy pose. I mean, honestly, I don't know. I'm not a, like I said, I don't buy a ton of Marvel Legends, so I don't know how much reuse this is, but yeah, a little disappointing that what is kind of a Spider-Man figure doesn't quite have Spider-Man articulation. These are pretty good butterfly joints though. So you can absolutely get this guy into some cool poses. He can cross his arms pretty well too. Not bad. All right, let's try some part swaps and get him holding that weapon. So, how easy are these hands to pop out without me heating him up? Not bad. Pop this right in. I like this peg design. It doesn't look like it's going to break easily. I appreciate that. Put that in there. It slid in nicely too. You know, Marvel Legends, I see you. Getting a little better. By the way, if the wrists are giving you some trouble, I highly recommend taking them off the figure and just like working the pegs a little bit like this, so that way you don't end up breaking the peg off in the arm by accident. Especially those of you who might be getting this for your kids. Last thing you want is a broken wrist joint. That is the worst. Is this the gripping hand for the sword? It can't be, right? Hold on. What else we got here? Yeah, no, it's a fist. It's not this one, right? No, not this one. That is a weird gripping hand, right? Am I crazy? Did it get like bent? Maybe I just need to break it in a little. I guess that works. That's weird, right? Like what are his fingers doing? Why is his thumb like that? I gotta say that's kind of a disappointing gripping hand. Like, hold on, let me grab my other Nightcrawler. Well, would you look at that? It's the same. Why doesn't it? Maybe it's just because the handle's thicker, so the thumb doesn't quite get around the handle. So I think that's what's bugging me. This hand just doesn't really work for this sword. Good thing I got lots of other swords. I wasn't expecting to, but we might be replacing this. It's kind of crappy anyway. You know, it's got the, well, okay, it's not crappy, but as an adult collector, I've got lots of nice sharp swords. This is a very kid-friendly sword, which is great because this is sold at Target. So if you get this for a kid, you don't have to be worried about them poking themselves on this sword, which is a very good thing. So yeah, in terms of handling, articulation, this guy is a Marvel Legends. And I mean that in good and bad ways. He has decent enough articulation, but like every Marvel Legends, it feels like there are compromises for the price point, which, you know, has its bonuses as well. So yeah, as far as handling those, this guy is pretty good. Talk about whether this guy is worth the price or not. He's around 30 bucks, depending on where you get him, and he's got some accessories, so that's not bad for a figure at this price point. He has some extra hands, so he's got fists, a pair of these out of the box. Then we got his sword gripping hand, not quite up to the task, and we've also got a pair of relaxed hands, and they're both a little different, which is cool. And also we've got this, I guess this is like a teleport effect. I'm not a fan of this. It is like, it's on the ground. It's like, I mean, like it's flat. So when you put it on the ground, like it's so small. Like how does this work as a teleport? Like he's almost always airborne when he's teleporting, or you know, it's like usually like a larger effect. So like, what are you gonna do? Like, I guess this, like even when he's bent over like that, there's just not like even like this, you know, this doesn't really work. Nice of them to include it, but honestly, as far as like volume of plastic goes, I think I would have preferred anything else. It doesn't bother me that much because I don't really feel like he's missing anything. But as far as like how they could have used the plastic, I think I would have preferred an unmasked head over this not super helpful effect piece. Oh yeah, I wanted to see if he is compatible with this Marvel Legends Nightcrawler that I have. I think this one's a bit older. Nice. So if you've got any other, or at least if you got that Nightcrawler Marvel Legends, then you can use this head. Nice. So there's some compatibility with other Nightcrawler Marvel Legends. There's plenty of parts in the comic where he's got the mask off, so that's cool to see. Little side note, I love how in multiple scenes in the comic when Nightcrawler is talking to Peter, Peter is like, how did you get your tail to change color with the costume? And every time Nightcrawler just kind of brushes him off. I love that. Finish on him is also quite nice. It's pretty shiny, but not too shiny. Like, this is mostly just the character design itself, but I love this head. It's so clean. Like, it just has the little ears, so you know it's Nightcrawler, but otherwise it's just a cool looking, very smooth Spider-Man face. Like, in general, just this is just such a cool look for this character. I love the color scheme. I love that it's Nightcrawler. He's got a cool silhouette. I would imagine people who are already familiar with this comic were super happy to see this guy because like they probably love seeing that version of Nightcrawler and were just waiting for a figure. So happy for them. And yeah, I'm happy to have this because it just looks very cool. All that said though, he's a nicely put together figure at a solid price point with an okay set of accessories. So pretty good. All right, here he is with as many lines as I could possibly squeeze into one shot. So we got probably the stuff you would expect. We got another Marvel Legends Nightcrawler. Got a Sentinel Miles there. He's a little smaller. Got the SH Figuarts, Insomniac Spider-Man and Spider-Punk. Also got the CT Toys Superior Neighbor. Got an amazing Yamaguchi Captain America. And we got G.I. Joe Classified's Snake Eyes hiding back there. And I also threw in some Operation Monster Force. If you're not aware of this line, they are fantastic for like just kind of generic bad guy goons for heroes to fight. So highly recommend that if you want Nightcrawler to beat some dudes up. So yeah, scale-wise, he's a Marvel Legends. He will scale great with most 6-inch figures. All right, as always, we will wrap up by putting him in the case. So I was originally thinking Marvel display, but we do have a Nightcrawler in there already. So I think he actually fits in better with the Spider-Man display. He's not exactly a Spider-Man variant in a sense, but yeah, I think he'll fit in with the Spider People. So we're going to have to integrate him because these guys are all situated a certain way. So I'm going to grab another bendy arm for this octopus display stand and we'll put him in there. Nice. Looking good. All right, as always, thank you so much for watching. And if you enjoyed this video, you might enjoy the one that's on screen now. Bye.